Welcome to our February 20th meeting of the Traffic and Transportation Advisory Commission. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Zambrano, could you please call the roll?
Chair Lemo.
Here.
Commissioner Gregory.
Present.
Commissioner McMahon.
Here.
And Vice Chair Engler is absent.
Thank you. Any person who wishes to speak regarding an item on the agenda or on a subject within the city's jurisdiction during the public comments portion of the agenda must file a public speaker card with a recording secretary before that portion of the agenda is called. Any person who wishes to speak on a specific agenda item must file a public speaker card before the specific item is called. Persons addressing the Traffic Commission are requested to state their name and city of residence for the record. Under state law, issues presented or introduced under public comments can have no action and will be referred to the Traffic Engineering Division Manager for administrative action or scheduled on a subsequent agenda. It would be appreciated if you'd please all turn off your cell phones during the meeting or at least put them on vibrate. As a reminder, there is not to be any dialogue between the audience and the commissioners at any time because TOTV can only record your comments when you're speaking into the microphone. A wireless microphone is available for your convenience should you need to step away from the podium while speaking. Before we move on with our agenda, we have a very special event tonight, and so we're going to have our city clerk administer, or representative of our city clerk, administer the oath of office to our newest commissioner.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Michael Reeder,
I, Michael Reeder,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and that I will
well and faithfully discharge
well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Thank you very much, and
Thank
I need
you.
you to sign a signature there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And before we continue on with our meeting, we'll invite any members of our commission to voice any comments they may have in regards to our newest member.
Just want to say welcome. I look forward to working with you, and it'll be a good meeting, I'm sure.
Welcome aboard, Michael. I'm sure you'll find this fun and sometimes challenging and sometimes mundane, unfortunately, but mundane sometimes is good.
And, of course, I want to echo my fellow colleagues' comments and let you know that no matter how hard it may look in the agenda, staff seems to find a way to make it a lot easier when we get here. And you should perpetuate the same thing that I tell all my friends, and that is that the camera puts about 100 pounds on us. With that, we will move to public comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes. The recording secretary will set the timer accordingly, and the green light on the timer will begin counting down 3 minutes. When the yellow light is displayed, you will have 1 minute left, so please begin wrapping up your comments at that time. The red light indicates your 3 minutes are up, so please stop speaking, but remain at the podium until any questions, if any, from our commissioners have been answered. And with that, we have one public comment card tonight, and I will apologize. It looks like it is Danette McReynolds. Thank you.
As stated, my name is Danette McReynolds. I'm a resident of Thousand Oaks. I happen to live on Falmouth Street, and I'm sorry that my neighbors and friends who have discussed the location of the stop sign on our specific section are not here. So I'm going to represent what they'd like to share with you all. The
Can
stop
I
sign.
interrupt you for just 1
Yes.
second? Did you want to make those comments in public comments, or were you actually hoping to speak on the item itself?
I just want to speak on the item itself, so we'll just limit them to my opinions
Okay.
specifically. The location of the stop sign at the corner of Caruso and Falmouth is a good idea. If you look at the fall of the street, and I think the commission that did the survey watches the fall of the street, you literally cannot see a car approaching as you're turning right off of Caruso onto Falmouth. You will look once, you will look twice, and literally by the time you're pulling out to turn, a car is upon you. It has a lot to do with the grade. It has to do with the narrowness of the street. Those who live on Caruso know that there's a problem. Most of us actually enter on Hood and come round and turn right into Caruso because of the danger of turning left onto that tiny little street. I asked the commission to consider a three-way stop, and there may be logistics and engineering and things that I may not be aware of in relaying to that. And then as a secondary option, to possibly consider speed bumps as you approach Caruso from the northern part of the location and then the southern part. So as you're coming up Falmouth to Caruso, there would be a speed bump, and as you're coming down, another one, perhaps in front of the community that's Kensington, I think, Estates, somewhere just to slow the cars. Because as the police officers can tell, I mean, we've had you guys sitting out there watching these guys at 8 a.m. going 50 miles an hour, and it's dangerous. It's just dangerous. So the stop sign's a great idea. It's not going to solve the problem because the traffic pattern is on Falmouth, not coming onto Falmouth from Caruso. And that's all I have to say, and thank you for listening to my opinion.
Do we have any? Okay, Ms. McReynolds, as you may or may not know, we are not able to consider speed bumps because, first of all, it's not on the agenda, and
Yes.
secondly, there are certain things by law that have to take place
Yes.
in order even to consider them. That item is up under item number 8 on the agenda tonight, and there is more than one stop sign that's being
Yes,
recommended.
that is correct. There's 4 in that section, but I'm speaking specifically to the one on Caruso and Falmouth.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Thank you. Having no cards for further public comment, we will move on to our item number 7 on the agenda, which is our summary notes from January 16th of 2013, and commissioners will find that under item number 7, and it's attached for information purposes only. There's no action necessary on accepting them. Any questions of staff? All right, then we will move ahead with item number 8 on our agenda. Actually, it will be item number 8A, which you will see page 4. And we stop sign at 4 different locations. And I am going to turn things over to Mr. Mashiko and another staff member to handle this item.
Thank you, Chair Lemo. At this time, I'd like to introduce our member who will be presenting the report, Ray Alonso, who is our engineering assistant. And with that, we'll have Mr. Alonso present the report.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Chair Lebo. And good evening, everyone. This item tonight is for stop sign installations at 4 T intersections. On this location map, it shows the 4 T intersections, each marked by a circle, that we are recommending the stop sign identified here as location number 1 at Crusoe Street at its intersection with Falmouth Street, location number 2 at Montrose Drive at its intersection with Falmouth Street, location number 3 at Parmenter Avenue at its intersection with Rayshire Street, and location number 4 at Rayshire Street at its intersection with Emerson Street. We're adding the stop signs just to the terminating legs that ties into the through street. You will notice that Crusoe and Montrose both terminates at Falmouth, where we're adding the stop signs. And Parmenter terminates at Rayshire, and Rayshire terminates at Emerson. This request was brought to our attention by one of the residents in the area. As part of our public outreach, obtaining community input is one of the key components of the installation of stop signs, so that we can discuss any issues here at the Traffic Commission before taking it to City Council for final approval. When we did our notification, we notified nearly 200 residents within 500-foot radius of each of the intersection. We also posted notices at the proposed stop sign locations. Each of the T intersections have no stop sign on any of the approaches. When you drive around town, you will notice that the stop sign is on the terminating leg and the through traffic or through street is uncontrolled. But when stop signs are installed, they're normally in an older neighborhood when the track was first built. Obviously, the stop signs did not go in at these 4 T intersections. They're not mandatory to have the stop signs because the vehicle code requires the terminating leg to yield to the through street. But in each of the T intersections, we did a field visit and observation of the traffic flow. And due to sight distance reasons, whether it's corner vegetation, road curvature, or combinations of both, we found it's necessary to have the stop sign at the terminating leg. In this photograph, taken when coming out of Crusoe to enter Falmouth, we have here a corner landscaping issue and road curvature issue. We have landscaping issue to the left on the private property that requires regular maintenance, and the horizontal and vertical road curvature make it difficult to see the westbound traffic on Falmouth. Here, the same thing when coming out of Montrose Drive to enter Falmouth with regards to corner landscaping. Same thing, Parmenter Avenue. When you try to enter Rayshire Street. So as Rayshire Street, when you're trying to enter Emerson Street. In summary, our goal here is to bring these 4 T intersections in compliance with current standards and practices. This is to control the movement at the terminating leg. In all cases, these stop signs are not designed to control speeding, since the through street is unaffected. We are asking the Traffic Commission to recommend City Council to adopt a resolution to install the stop signs. And if the Traffic Commission concurs with the recommendation, we will submit a report to City Council in April for consideration. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alonso. Let's open it up for questions, and we'll start with Commissioner. Okay, take it from the end then.
All right, thanks. Did we do any other studies besides just line of sight in these areas? As one public speaker mentioned, they seem to have a speeding issue, as a lot of local residents will sometimes get comfortable driving, and if the sight distance is restrictive, wouldn't that pose kind of a dangerous situation?
Well, with regards to the sight distance issue, what we're trying to do here is try to make the vehicles coming from the terminating leg do come to a stop, rather than or versus today where people may just not even stop or just roll
Right.
through the intersection.
So you're creating a limit basically for them so that they can ease out into the traffic. Is that basically all you feel is necessary right now? Or have you done any other kind of studies on the traffic in that area? I'm just wondering, what the flow is. It doesn't seem like a huge neighborhood. If there's one car that's going down, each hour or something like that, I don't see that as a big issue.
What I can expand on that. Basically, what we did at these locations, we took a look at the sight distance for each of the 4 locations as you exit those terminating legs. Ideally, what you want to have is about 275 feet of sight distance, either to your left and to your right. And if you notice in those pictures, most of the locations had something on the corner, either landscaping, a block wall, or there's road curvature, horizontal or vertical road curvature. And so it's ideal to have the terminating vehicles or the vehicles at their terminating legs stop before entering the intersection, versus under current conditions, they could just roll out without having to stop. If it's a request is for a multi-way stop sign, that has a different standard, and usually that's driven by the amount of volume of vehicles traveling through the intersection. Multi-way stop sign is designed to regulate traffic at a busy intersection and determine who should enter the intersection next. There's some drawbacks to putting in multi-way stop signs at these low-volume intersections. Frequently, you'll probably have situations where drivers will just drive through the stop sign, not come to a complete stop. So there's some adverse effects when you put in stop signs at these low volume intersections.
Okay, so you just confirmed what I thought, and that is very low volume. It's just local traffic back in this neighborhood, correct? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gregory. Commissioner McMahon.
So what I would ask you to do is, we are aware that there is a certain vehicle per day standard for speed humps, and I don't remember specifics, is it 2,500 or something like that? But I think for the benefit of the speaker and others who have thought that Falmouth was maybe in need of speed humps, could you go over those standards so that they're aware of what they're looking at?
Yes, in terms of speed humps, we do have a speed hump program here in Thousand Oaks, and the process begins in the form of a petition. What we're looking for is neighborhood support before we consider speed humps, because there is a sort of a division within a neighborhood usually when you consider speed humps. Many people want them, many people don't. So the petition process requires at least 75% of the affected residents along the street. They must sign the petition to show that there is neighborhood support before staff actually begins the process and investigates whether or not we would consider speed humps for that street. We can get a hold of the citizen who submitted the speaker card and let her know all the details about that process. And the issue of volume on a road, ideally speed humps are limited to roads that are 2,000 vehicles or more.
And in your estimation, Falmouth would not meet that criteria?
Yeah, just by inspection, there are periods where there were no traffic on the roads for several minutes at a time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner McMahon. Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Reeder.
I'd like to address the intersection of Montrose and Falmouth, and specifically the definition of a terminating leg. If that little spur that serves just one driveway wasn't there, that would be a through street. Am I correct?
Yes, I guess you're trying to decide, is Falmouth the terminating street or is Montrose the terminating street?
Well, by definition, the terminating street would be Montrose, I think, but only because of that one little extension that serves one resident.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Well, for the record, then, I would say, personally, I wouldn't like to see a stop sign there because it wouldn't serve much of a purpose. You're only stopping for that one resident to go in and out of his driveway. Wouldn't most of the people traveling north on Falmouth actually be turning right onto Montrose?
Yes, the northbound traffic on Falmouth, typically the pattern is to make a right turn.
Yes.
At the intersection.
So it just comes down to semantics. Is this really a through road or is it a terminating leg?
Well, at this location, there's a little bit of a special condition out here. I don't know if you were out there during the morning peak hour, but that's also used as a drop-off point and pickup point for the school that fronts La Granada. And what we saw were when the area gets congested, like at close to 8 o'clock in the morning, vehicles will park on Falmouth and then they walk on the east side of the sidewalk, and then what they'll do is they'll have to cross Montrose there, and then I believe there's a set of stairs that they walk up to the school. So it's in those situations when you have pedestrians crossing Montrose, you'd probably want to make sure that those vehicles approaching from Montrose come to a complete stop.
Understood. And then with vehicles parked there, it even impedes the visibility more.
Yes, that's another
Okay,
factor.
So, okay, I understand why that's going in then.
I'd like to add a little more because I happened to do that field observation myself, and I noticed that even though there's only one driveway on the north leg of that intersection, still that poor visibility exists at the southeast corner of the intersection, and all it takes is one vehicle. And then I saw all these parents, probably approximately 40 school parents dropping off their children, and about a dozen kids cross Montrose, actually. So we're talking about, say, 40, 50 kids in the morning and the same number in the afternoon. So we're actually providing safe crossing opportunity for these 100 kids a day to cross Montrose. So I think it would be safe to have that stop sign, or better to have a stop sign. Thank
Well
you.
explained. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commission questions? With that, we'll entertain a motion and discussion on item, and we'll look for a motion first. Commissioner McMahon.
I move to accept the staff's recommendation to ask the City Council to put in the 4 stop signs as diagrammed and explained to us tonight.
And we need a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll call for a vote, please.
May we take a hand vote? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Mr. Alonso. Our next item is item 8B. You'll see that in your packet. This is a, no, there is no written report, so you can look for that in your packet all night long, and you will not find it. This is one of those things you could be looking for that will not be in the last place you look for it. But we do have a presentation by Senior Engineer Dan Lazo. Mr. Lazo.
Thank you, Chair Lemo. Anyway, my name is Dan Lasso, and I'm the project manager for the US 101 Wendy Drive Interstate Improvement Project. And I'm here to give you an update on the project. Let me start my presentation on our project team. The City of Thousand Oaks is handling the contract administration of this project. Caltrans is providing the oversight of the construction because the bridge and other work are in the state right-of-way. Parsons designed the project and also providing design support during construction. AECOM is our construction management inspection services provider. And the last but not the least is CA Rasmussen is the general contractor. The project is to widen the Wendy Drive Bridge to add left turn lanes, bike lanes, and right turn lanes on both directions of the bridge. The southbound 101 Wendy Drive off-ramp will be widened from 1 lane to 2 lanes. Northbound 101 Wendy Drive on-ramp will be widened from 1 lane to 2 lanes. Traffic signals on the north and south ends of the bridge will be upgraded to accommodate all these added lanes to the bridge. On this slide, it shows the highlighted area of work. As you can see, the highlighted is the widened part of the whole project. On these slides, it shows the typical cross-section of the bridge before, and at the bottom, that will be after the project is completed.
We have a question from Commissioner McMahon.
Would you mind going back to the last, the orange at the outside of the traffic? Is that the bike lanes?
Yes, ma'am. There's gonna on the left side of the bottom section, that will be a bike lane, and then on the right side there will be a bike lane between the two cars, because the right lane will be a turn light, right turn lane.
Okay. Thank you.
Here it shows the architectural features and the color treatments after the project is completed. We're also installing more energy efficient LED lights on the bridge. The project started in March of 2012 last year, and we're anticipating to complete it by mid-September of 2013, or this year. On our public outreach, we handed out notices to the businesses 2 days, or not 2 days, 2 months before the start of the construction on the Wendy Drive north and south of the freeway, and also on Orchard Road south of the freeway. We also had press releases on the city website, toaks.org/Wendy101. We are posting updated information. We also have links to show the detour maps, lane ramps closure schedules, and some plans. And we also send out weekly emails to about 500 residents.
And if I could just, one other thing that you did that you didn't claim any credit for, there was nice signage up on a regular basis that reminded everybody that the businesses in the area were open during all the construction. I thought things were signed very well by you guys. So,
and that's part of our public outreach.
Yeah, another great job.
The cost of the project is about a little over $11 million. 90% is funded by federal grants. As you can see on our pie chart, 6% is from gas tax, 4% from developer's fee. We will show you a short video that was shot in November of last year. In the video, our Director of Public Works will explain the installation of the girders, which is the biggest part of the project, while the project was closed. With that, our good friend from TOTV will play the video.
Hi, I'm Jay Spurgeon. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Thousand Oaks. I am standing in the middle of the northbound 101 freeway. It's about 1:30 in the morning. Obviously, the freeway is closed. Both sides of the freeway are shut down tonight for the construction of our Wendy 101 Bridge Widening Project. The purpose of this project is to widen the bridge. An additional travel lane for vehicles and for bicycles will be provided on both sides of the bridge. So we're widening each side of the bridge to alleviate the congestion that's occurred at this interchange over the years because of the growth in the Newbury Park area of Thousand Oaks. The duration of this project is about 18 months, and we're almost halfway through. We expect to be completed by summer of 2013 with the bridge fully open and operational. There are 4 bridge girders being placed tonight. One you see is already being put into place. That's a 80-foot long, 10-ton girder. The second girder, that's a 96-foot long girder, and it weighs 17 tons. These girders were manufactured in Salt Lake City, Utah by Mountain State Steel, American-made. Prime contractor on this project is C.A. Rasmussen from Valencia, California. The steel workers that are putting the girders together work for Bragg Crane and Outfitting out of Long Beach, California. This is the city's largest project currently under construction. Total cost is $14.3 million. Funding is primarily from federal highway funds of $11 million. The balance is from the local city gas tax funds as well as developer fees. This is a very important project for the community as it does provide significant improvement in the interchange operations, alleviates a lot of the congestion that commuters see here every morning and every afternoon.
And that concludes my presentation, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Any questions from our commissioners? Thank you very much. Very good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Will we be playing that little video anytime just to help citizens know a little bit more about it on TOTV? I know it's kind of short and maybe a scheduling challenge, but I think it's pretty interesting and very concise. If there's any way to do it, I think it would be great. Thank you. Maybe when we take a break at a council meeting. We have our bicycle advisory team report. As you can see, what was submitted by Mr. Mashiko and Mrs. Lowry. Are there any questions for staff or any comments? Thank you. We will move on then. Item number 9, status report of prior Traffic Commission recommendations. Mr. Mashiko, will you handle this?
Yes. Item number 9 is the Teller Road, Lawrence Drive issue that you looked at last month, and what we are going to do is recommend that this traffic signal be constructed in the next 2-year budget cycle.
Any questions or comments regarding Teller Road and Lawrence Drive? Very good. Thank you. Item number 10 are commission referrals from our January 16th meeting. And again, I'll turn things over to Mr. Mashiko to cover these 2 items.
Okay. There are 2 items that were brought up at the last meeting. The first item was on Avenida de los Arboles. Question was raised as far as the striping in a transition area as you travel eastbound on Arboles near Calle Cabracho. What we are going to do is bring that back probably in April with a little bit more data just to let you know what's going on with that restriping project overall, and we'll touch on this transition area that was brought up at the last meeting. The second item was an issue regarding parking on Wildwood Avenue towards I believe that's the west end, towards the top of the hill. Since that's sort of a citizens' request, we submitted a response to each of the commissioners by email, giving some options as to what the residents can do to alleviate the parking concerns that they have up there.
Thank you. And do we have questions or comments on these two referrals? Commissioner Reeder.
Yes, I'd like to address the parking situation on Wildwood Avenue. The no parking signs were placed there originally. For what reason?
We reviewed the records and we didn't find when they were installed, but it appears that it was probably to deter the visitors that go to the park after sundown, and to try to keep them out of there because the area fronts Costco property. And apparently what's probably happening is that these vehicles find that there's no parking in front of the Costco property. What they're doing is they're moving and parking in front of the residential area where there's no restriction.
And this is where the complaint comes from then, with the residents having cars parked in front of their residences, and the people go over to the COSCO, is it?
Yeah, I don't, if memory serves me, and I'll ask my fellow commissioners or staff to correct me, I don't know that we really got a complaint. It was a concern that Commissioner Engler had that night, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Does everybody? Well, I know that you weren't here, but is that correct?
I think that is correct.
So we didn't actually have a complaint, but it was a concern as she was traveling through that area. So the good news was it wasn't a complaint, and the other side of that is the options if it rises to a level where a citizen would want to take advantage of one or all of these options, if I understood my email correct. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct. That if the citizen chose to approach staff and request that we take action, some of the action would require the neighborhood to perhaps sign a petition if one of the actions or one of the options was permit parking. And permit parking is an item that requires neighborhood support.
Did that sufficiently answer your
you.
concern?
Yes.
Other questions or comments on this? I am going to, before we move to the work program, I just received an email from Commissioner Engler that I thought I should probably share with you. She is, as some of you already know, she's with the Red Cross. She's in Mississippi and just said storms are headed into the area and tornado warnings for tomorrow at 1 p.m. She is in a tornado-safe building, but she brought personal items and change of clothes just in case they're stuck. So depending on what we do about future meetings, she will either be here or not. But she did. I had sent her an email earlier asking what the condition was, and she is safe. So you can all let her know that we knew what she was doing even from miles away. And yet again, Southern California has better weather than another part of our country. With that, we will move to our work program and commission schedule. You will see there that on item 11, our work schedule for future agenda items, really for the month of April, is got us pretty well stacked for that meeting. And then the one of the items on here and under Traffic Commission comments and discussions on item number 12 is to consider canceling the March 20th meeting. And I thought, Mr. Mashiko, you could explain the reasons and why we have a very heavy April agenda, but it looks like there's literally nothing that is far enough along to move up to the March agenda. And so if you would give us some about schedule, and then I'll remind everybody why we would consider canceling a meeting.
Okay, yes. Some of these items we're still working on. We're still in the process of collecting some data to place into the report. So, example would be the Arbalest item. We're collecting some vehicular traffic information, some delay time information, and also other items would be the crossing guard report. I think that's probably going to be the biggest item that evening. And I know our crossing guard folks are out at the intersections where we have crossing guards assigned, and they're collecting some data, because what they do is an annual review of the program and determine if whether or not maybe there's some locations that no longer need crossing guards deployed. Perhaps there's some locations where we can consolidate crossing guards. So things like that. All these items won't be ready for March.
And with that, for the benefit of all of us from a reminder standpoint, but also for our newest commissioner, our goal this year in particular is to lean towards not canceling meetings or having more meetings than we've had in the past. That being kept in mind, we do want to be sensitive to the efficiency of having a meeting if we don't have much going on. What staff has been always very good about is, in the event they receive an item that rises to the nature of needing to have a meeting and needing to have something more immediate so that the process can move forward with council, then in plenty of time for notice, they would contact us via email, make certain that we could, in fact, pull together a quorum and have a meeting. I don't recall that happening much in the 6 or 7 years I've been here. And so for that reason, our item for discussion is to get your input on canceling the March meeting, which at this point would have not much of an agenda on it other than maybe public comments. So with that, let's get some feedback. Commissioner McMahon.
It just seems to me that staff time is important, and if having a meeting takes a lot of staff time in preparation and they have to be here after work, I think that if we don't have that much, I think that it's a courtesy to the citizens to let the staff do what they need to do and not work overtime.
Other comments?
Yeah, I would lean towards respecting staff's time and their requirements and allowing them to get whatever projects that they're working on, in order before we have our next meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Gregory. Commissioner Reeder?
Yes. I'll follow the lead of my fellow commissioners.
Thank you, and I do agree with our fellow commissioners. I think, though, what I would like you to do is please take a vote. I think we should have a hand vote. Or I guess I should probably call what that vote is. This would be a vote on canceling our Wednesday, March 20th, 2013 meeting. And if you would now take the vote.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. That motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other Traffic Commission comments? Okay, we're going to start with Commissioner Gregory and work our way.
I just have one question, and this was kind of a couple referrals came to me just asking a question about how I think it's our busiest intersection of Westlake and Thousand Oaks Boulevard. And there's a very well-engineered turn lane northbound on Westlake Boulevard that turns east. And I thought it was very well designed. It's come to my attention, though, that every once in a while there's a conflict between traffic traveling straight on Thousand Oaks Boulevard through that intersection and that protected right-hand turn lane being active. What happens is it has a protected lane. It creates 3 lanes in that eastbound direction. But a number of people need to start moving over to the left. And it was reported to me that on occasion, it kind of creates a conflict there with people needing to merge left and the straight traffic just starting through the intersection. I didn't know if that might be an accidental timing issue that got off or if it's engineered that way. But I don't know how often this happens, but a couple people mentioned it to me, and I don't know if that's something that staff could take a look at and see if it could be corrected just by, adjusting the, traffic signals in that intersection.
Okay, we'll do some field visits, check the location at various times of the day, peak hour. I imagine the morning peak during the school hour is probably a busy time over there, so we'll definitely get out there and take a look at it.
Yeah, I don't know how often this happens, but obviously it must happen sometimes, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner McMahon?
Will we be getting an updated roster?
Yes, we could arrange for that in the next packet.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, Commissioner Reeder? No. All righty. Thank you very much. With that, the Traffic Commission makes recommendations to City Council, and interested parties may attend the meeting and may speak either for or against the recommendation of the Traffic Commission. Any person wishing to appeal a decision of the Traffic and Transportation Advisory Commission shall file a written appeal and pay a $200 appeal fee with the City Clerk's office within 14 calendar days of this decision. The matter will be referred to the City Council at the earliest reasonable date. The $200 appeal fee will be refunded only if the Council overturns the Traffic and Transportation Advisory Commission's decision. An appeal form is available tonight. Please see Mrs. Zambrano. That being said, the Traffic and Transportation Advisory Commission is now adjourned until 7:30 p.m. Wednesday, April 17th in the boardroom of the Civic Arts Plaza. Thank you and good night.